guys, what's going on? It is Asher coming at you today in Clash Royale. I am joined by Clash with Shane, aka InSHANE. Shane, what's up, bro? It's been a minute since I've had anybody, let alone you, one of my best buds outside Clash even. How you doing, man?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me here. It has been a hot minute. I cannot remember the last time we've done one of these podcasts.
No one can.
But I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, enjoying life. Clash Royale is a whole different story right now, but life's good. You know, life behind the scenes is good. I got a family right now, 2 kids.
Yeah, I love it, man. Talk to me a little bit, briefly here about the channel, man. You're no longer Clash with Shane. You left the Clash with family. Me and Clash with Cam, we poured a little bit out for you, man. And Eric, with Eric, all the Clash withs. We all chilled together.
If you remember,
in the club.
if you remember, like 6 months ago, we did a battle. We did a challenge with the monk. And in that video, it was a 1v1 me and you said it was a battle for the Clash withs, and whoever loses deletes their Clash with name. And unfortunately, you won that battle, dude. So I had to honor my word and delete the Clash with and rebrand as InSHANE.
Who's your Clash with? Who's your favorite Clash with, audience? Yeah, but yeah, how are things going, man? Because this actually plays into like a good way to get into the topic of what the heck's going on in Clash Royale and where things are going to go from here. And you rebranded your channel, and I think a lot of it was because your content was changing. Like, it was no longer deck of the day every day, which was our bread and butter, both of us, for quite a while in different ways. What went behind that thought process?
Well, it was multiple different things went into it, but basically I was at a point where Clash Royale was so mature and they weren't adding as much strategy to the game. The game wasn't changing at a rate that I felt compelled to keep covering that content because decks were becoming more stagnant. I felt it was the same 5 strategies every single month. Even when new cards came out, even when balance came out, it was the same like 10 decks, but 1 or 2 cards would change. And it ultimately ended up getting super repetitive. And I felt like I wanted to kind of challenge myself creatively to pursue some new formats to cover. So it was an interesting timing with Clash Royale becoming a little bit more stagnant, and me also kind of like looking to challenge myself and pursue a new interest. And so far, I would say it's very successful. Very, very happy with the results so far in the videos that we've been producing. But just kind of coincidental timing with Clash Royale kind of releasing some interesting updates recently and rebranding my channel at the same time.
Yeah, you're now InSHANE. Congratulations on your success, man. I think the content is absolutely incredible. Anybody who misses my uploads, go check out Shane, InSHANE, because it's fantastic stuff over there. I love what you've done. Like the whole rebrand and just the quality bar went way up. Like nothing like what you expect here, you know, guys. A lot more thought and quality into the content. So hats off to you there. Dude, are deck building videos and channels dead? Not really, because I guess Tag's doing really well, right, in that format?
Well, I feel like there's always going to be an audience for the deck strategy, because obviously there's always new players coming to Clash Royale, and as long as there is a meta, people are going to be interested in the game and in the best deck of the day.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when a topic becomes less interesting, people will narrow down their consumption of that content. So when you have a meta where the strategy is constantly changing, and bounties are coming in, new cards are coming in, and it's drastically changing the entire meta, then it's more interesting and people will consume more content. But as it becomes a bit more stagnant, people will narrow that down and start watching maybe only their top 1 or 2 creators instead of their top 5. And I feel like that's kind of why you see a couple of the really good creators still doing well on that topic, because they cover that topic in such a unique and compelling way that it's still interesting. But for me, it was a combination of obviously the meta becoming a bit more mature, but also me losing personal interest in that topic, which I think ends up resulting in the video itself becoming less interesting to watch.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, that's kind of why I've gravitated away from that kind of content. But you will still see creators being successful in that space, because as long as there are people playing Clash Royale, they will have an interest in the decks of the day. So I don't think it's dead. I just think the interest and the consumption of that format is slashed significantly.
I think that's a good point.
And that's okay. I mean, Clash Royale is a mature game. It's been
Yeah.
out for over 7 years, and it's natural at any game in that life point, in that life cycle, to get to a point where the meta is mature, and that's kind of where we
I
are right now.
no, I agree with you, and that's a good point about like narrowing down who you're watching or how much time you're consuming the longer that things go on, especially as it pertains to Clash Royale and deck building and stuff like that. Also, you know, I feel like for years, at least from my point of view, not that I'll be quick on this because I'm not sure my audience cares that much, but I would like to hear from you guys watching right now. Join the conversation. Do you consume as much like deck of the day content, like, oh, this is the new hottest deck or whatever, you know, top 5 decks for whatever? Do you consume as much as that as you used to? If not, why? Is it because things don't change really? Because balance changes also kind of go into that. But also for me personally, I think that my bread and butter was bringing on pros because like early days of Clash Royale, Shane, like I realized back in 2016 that I was not going to be a top player. So I'm like, shoot, man, I'm no OJ. I think OJ didn't even exist at that time, but like I'm no Molten Nick or whatever. I'm not entertaining enough. And I'm not good enough at this game, so what the hell am I going to do with this channel, man? So I'm like, I'll just bring better players on, and they can make the content for me. Genius. And that was how I built this freaking channel, you know, largely. But now all the pros have channels. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think that was the death of me personally. It was a good strategy until every single pro or competent player. I mean, back in the day, I would have like Surgical on one day. I would have like Mohammed on the next day. I would have Tag on the next day. And they all have YouTube. I would Riley on YouTube channel. I could keep going on and on and on, but you know the names, right? So I think that was my kind of downfall, so to speak, but I'm not really going anywhere. I still enjoy like covering the game, even in a casual way. But I wanted to ask you, I wanted to shift a little bit, Shane, to the negativity in Clash Royale right now. First off, have you ever experienced anything like it? We've both been playing since like day one.
I mean, yeah, we've weathered the storms. We've been through Clash Royale's highs and lows.
Yeah.
And we've been here before. We've been at moments where Clash Royale releases an update that misses the mark. Community is very upset.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like there's this trend where Clash Royale they kind of go quiet for a bit. They release an update, miss the mark, people are upset. Clash Royale seems to go quiet, and I feel like they just wait until they have the next update ready to go before they come out again and say, hey, there's a new update here. Like, it fixes some of the things that we broke, but it also introduces some new stuff, like kind of distracts people from the things that they're upset about.
But have you ever seen it this bad though?
I've never seen this bad. I was just going to say, we've been in situations like this before, but it's never felt this bad. And I wonder if is this update, you know, the worst update in Clash Royale's history? Maybe, probably. Or is it because that Clash Royale is so mature, there's less people that are like super like happy and passionate about it? Because I feel like when Clash Royale first released, there's that newness, that freshness towards it, and even if they released an update that was, you know, not as good, you still are willing to look past those mistakes because you still are enjoying the game and it's still fun and fresh. Whereas it's kind of like when you're in a new relationship, you look past those person's like flaws because it's new and it's fun. You're in that honeymoon phase, and then once you know, isn't the 7-year itch? That's what they call it, 7-year itch. You know, after several years, you start to notice those minor annoyances, and they start to stick with you. And I feel like that's kind of where Clash Royale is at, where you've got a bad update. We're focusing on that bad update because, let's be real, this past year and a half hasn't really been too stellar for Clash Royale in terms of the update department. And so it kind of hurts right now, and it hurts more because of the quietness from Clash Royale afterwards. We haven't really heard anything, and it's been a month and a bit now since the update came out. And do
you think it's just because they have nothing to say?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because they have nothing to say, or maybe it's just a strategy of like, hey, there's nothing we can say right now to make people happy, so we're not going to say anything until we have something to show.
Well, they could say something if they had some good news. you know?
Yeah, if they had good news, they probably would. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm not. There's probably many angles I'm not considering because I'm not a game developer. But I feel like this is probably, it feels the worst it's been in the history of Clash Royale for the update and the reception. We've been in similar situations in terms of, you know, having a negative update to the game, but I feel like
sometimes we're wrong too. Sometimes we're wrong. Well, yeah. I want to say community, you know, like, dude, Do you remember how pissed off people got about changing the levels from 1, 2, 3 to
Yep.
9, 10, 11, 12 or whatever? Like just changing the numbers. People were so mad. And it's just like, I remember getting on a video and be like, dude, in a month you'll forget that legendaries used to go from 1 to 4. And they're like, shut up, Ash, you show for Supercell, you idiot. And I'm like, bro, it's just changed. So I feel like the community has overreacted at times, but I don't think this is one of those times because they're
No,
playing with
not
our
at all.
money, man. They're playing with
Not
our
at all.
money.
I think this is one of those scenarios where the community is like dead on that like this was a bad update. In terms of where do we go from here? Hopefully the next update has something good. Because from what they've rumored in the blog post earlier this year with their roadmap, it's concerning what might be coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I think where we
Level
go
15,
from here,
just say it.
yeah, just level 15. We'll talk about level 15 in a moment here because that is a
Okay.
whole different topic. But I think the community has it right now. This update stinks. We need some answers. Hopefully the next one has them. But we've been in similar situations. Clash Royale has obviously come back from the situations before. Hopefully it can do it again.
Yeah, so my question is I have so many for you. Before we touch on
Okay.
level 15, first I want to ask another kind of like selfish creator question, right? Because like I've been doing this for almost 9, 10 years here on YouTube, and you've been doing it for a long time too. And I it's so easy as a content creator to like kind of shit on every update that any developer does because everybody gives you endless credit. Like you're the most loved person in the world, right? And then to be positive about updates, you'll get hated on endlessly. So like it's actually contrary to what people think. Like it doesn't take any balls to be like, oh, this update sucks because Supercell, they've never talked to me in 9 years about like maybe way back in the day one time or something in Clash of Clans, like, hey, easy on the hate or whatever. Like this is like they've never all these videos I've made about this update sucking. Never has Drew or anybody messaged me and been like, yo, Ash, like, not cool, man, or whatever. So, like, anyway, I say all that to say this, though. Like, my real hesitation has nothing to do with the developer, like, talking about this kind of stuff. I'm just going to be candid with my audience as well, and I want to get your take on this. It's like, I think that it's important to talk about things that are reality, right? And not ignore them in the game, and especially speaking your mind in how you feel like the direction of the game is going, especially if it's bad. But also, I heard this, I forgot who told me this like once back in the day, but it was like a YouTube seminar. It was like a YouTube guru, or whatever the heck. And they're like, people tune into your content to watch Clash Royale, or at the time it was a Clash of Clans or whatever. So like put yourself in a consumer's shoes, a reviewer's shoes. Like what if you watched a channel every day to hear about ice hockey? You're Canadian, right? So and then all they did was hate on ice hockey and talk about how the league is ruined and eventually you'd be like, dude, I just come here to chill and listen to some ice hockey stuff, not to hear you crap on what I'm consuming. I'm going to your channel for every single day, So I feel like there's a little bit of a fine line maybe to where like shit, like look at my last videos, man. On my channel, I think all my content has been like talking about how upset and mad everybody is and how awful the update is and is Clash Royale gonna die? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, am I screwing over like not just myself, not because of Supercell, but like my audience who is actually interested in consuming content about Clash Royale? Are they gonna be like, dude, all this dude ever does is complain now? So I'm sorry for the long question, but from your point of view, how do you handle that?
Well, I think it's important to call out the negativity when it's there, like when it's justified, but not to dwell on it. And I think one of the common misconceptions that I see in the community is that unless somebody says something publicly, then they don't care about it. And I think that's a common misconception because I'll see people all the time saying like, oh, these creators, they haven't said a single word about this update. They don't care, or they support the update or whatever. But that couldn't be further from the truth. There's a lot of people that maybe they just don't like. I don't really participate too much in social media nowadays. My upload frequency is significantly less than it used to be. And my efforts are more focused on, submitting feedback directly to Supercell instead of just like pandering to public opinion, which is an easy way to get engagement if you go out and be like, hey, this update stinks. I agree with you, but I think there's more productive ways and constructive ways of ensuring a better future for Clash Royale. Now, that being said, to answer your question, is it like is it damaging to your channel to always dwell on the negative? Yes, in a way. I think if you only dwell on the negative, then it can start to hurt people's opinions over time. But it depends if it's justified. If you're finding tiny little things to nitpick about and you're constantly just dumping on everything, then yeah, you might get upset. But if you're generally a positive person and you call out positive things for being positive and appreciate them, but then also call out the negative things for being negative, then I think people can just trust that you'll be honest.
Yeah.
And I would say that this past update, there's not a whole lot of positive things to talk about. And so it might seem like things are negative recently because that's what the update was. But I think I wouldn't worry too much about it being damaging towards the channel or people's opinions, because that's just where the game's kind of at right now.
Yeah, and it's like, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you to a large extent, but like with this situation too, which is like, I don't think it's all, and I know this is not what you meant by it, but I don't think it's just pandering, because like I can only speak from my own point of view here, not about anybody else, but like I want to say probably if you look back, like one of my last videos was about me being fat back in the day, and another one of my videos was like probably another personal video, and then everything else has been like community reaction type stuff. But when they take away Path of Legends, which is what all I did on the channel, and I don't have pros really on the channel anymore because all the pros have their own channels. It's like, I feel like, and no one wants to see my freaking gameplay, in draft mode or whatever. So like, maybe I'm being lazy, but also I find it like, hey, you know what? This is actually interesting to me how people are reacting, and I'm kind of reporting on the news. But then again, I don't know. I feel like there's no right answer when everybody's angry, as sometimes, you can never please everybody, but it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation. I'd be curious to hear what the viewers kind of thought about everything. But I guess moving on here, in interest of time, Shane.
I just want to interject here quickly to say, just to clear up, when I say pandering, what I mean is like the intention behind something.
Sure.
And I don't think that was you by any means, but I think it's like, it's easy to see like this negative sentiment towards something and then be like, oh, hey, like I can use that to like gain some free engagement or whatever by agreeing with the community. And obviously we agree with the community. Well, this update stinks.
Yeah.
But I think there's a way to like there's a constructive way to go about it and be like, hey, this update stinks because of XYZ. This is why these decisions are bad, and this is the outcome they have on the players, and these are ways to fix them. I think that's way more constructive than just being like, this update stinks, let's all hate Clash Royale. Then that's just kind of like pandering to the opinion.
You know what? You're absolutely right, and like at the risk of making ourselves playing a freaking mobile game, I was gonna say it was stupid, but I mean like in the grand scheme of life, right? Like at the risk of sounding all important about it, like I've learned a lot about news media through making content, because you see as a creator what gets impressions, what gets views, which gets interest, what spurs on channel growth. And as sick as it is, just like, this is not political, don't hate me, everybody, but like whether you're on the Fox News or the CNN side, all you got to do is tell people what they want to hear and be a little bit negatively tinged to it, and they come like flies, man. But if if I tell a positive story, if I title this video, the bright side of the future, no one would give a crap, man. No one would watch, It's human nature to some extent, but people abuse it. And you know what? Whether you agree or disagree with me, you think I'm stupid, think Shane's stupid, think Clash Royale's stupid, think this YouTube channel's stupid, you ought to be aware, if you take anything from this, you ought to be aware that that is a massive reality with everything that you consume in life. People just skewing negative to get you to consume and get you more fired up to consume more. Sorry, I'll get off my little soapbox here, Shane. Poor Shane's
I agree with that.
I
agree with that. No,
I came on to catch up for 5 minutes, bro. What are you doing to me?
No, I think it's an important point that you just made, though. But I mean, just to be clear, neither of us like this update. It stinks. But I just think that there's, you can be more we can be more constructive. With Clash Royale. I guess.
No, I agree. Okay, so let's end it off, man, with the elephant in the room, level 15, right? Level 15.
The scary part.
So let me start out with this. Level 15, will they go through level 15? Yes or no?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
It's lightning round.
Will they go through with it? Yes, I think
want your
yes. I think they
guesses.
will.
Okay. Will
Looking at the
level
track
50
record, I think they will go through with
Okay,
it.
so let's just say I'm just gonna play this out. Level 15 comes and people get even more angry and more people, and the vitriol is even worse. Does it kill Clash Royale, or does the dust settle in 6 months and people start spending and everything's fine?
That is a loaded question.
Right?
I don't know. It is so hard because obviously there's a very passionate community like that vocalizes their opinion in the comment section on Reddit, online. But there's also so many casual players that do not go on social media, that do not participate in online forums. And I don't obviously I don't interact with those casual players at all, so I don't know what their behavior would be, and would they also quit? Because I know there's people that I know in my personal life that very casually play Clash Royale. They don't really follow along with the updates, and so would they just keep playing the game? I don't know. I think if they did release level 15 and it stunk too, there'd be a massive drop off for a while. Probably until I don't think it would just magically rise up again. I think they would have to do something with an update to fix it before it started trending upwards again. But whether they go forward level 15, I mean, I was kind of hoping that with this recent update that they might be like, okay, let's postpone level 15 for a bit and focus on fixing some things. But with this quietness and no communication so far, I'm not too sure what to expect anymore.
What is the give me an alternative, and I'm happy to field one of these questions. I know you're not the guru here, Shane, but what is the these are the questions I ask myself, is what is the alternative to level 15? So it's very clear. I don't know if you have any inside info. I don't, because I don't read the chat as much as I should, the creator chat. But and if you do, if you can't comment, feel free to say comment. But to me, it's pretty obvious, and I might be wrong, but it's pretty obvious that it's going to be some sort of a champion-like mechanic or a gadget-like mechanic that becomes available magically at level 15, where a troop can do something, have some sort of an effect for extra elixir or whatever. That to me is what they've been alluding to this whole time in my mind. So is there, if not level 15, how can... And I'm not asking from the point of view of a player, because it's easy to say, just get rid of 15, just make it available in 14. Blah. How can they keep some sort of a monetization to keep their investors and whatever happy, and also not make it tied to upgrading all of your cards?
Well, I'm just reading the blog post here just to get the exact wording.
Thank you.
They said there is a new gameplay. This is what they posted earlier this year with their roadmap, February 2023. They said, this is our most important and exciting update. We're looking forward to showing it to you, but you have to wait a little bit more before revealing anything. It'll introduce a new layer of depth for Clash Royale gameplay, where you will unlock new powers for your favorite cards. So that's their wording.
And they showed a Dark Elixir thing.
Yeah, somewhere on that there was a thumbnail of Dark Elixir. I think it was a knight or whatever, and there's a Dark Elixir. But it said this new gameplay layer will come side by side with a new card level, 15, and will affect a whole host of cards on launch. So unlocking new powers for your favorite cards. That's basically their exact wording. Coming side by side with level 15. Your question was, what's the alternative? How do they release these things without a new level? Was that your question there?
How do they release things without a new level? Let's put ourselves into Supercell headquarters right now. Take off your shoes if you have them on right now. No shoes allowed. So we're sitting on their comfy couch, and we all get together, and they're like, okay, community's mad right now, but what do we do about level 15? Crap. What can they do at this point if they're in this spot? If I'm a developer and I'm in between a rock and a hard place, meaning that the community is super angry, they know level 15 is going to be awful, but yet they need to have this robust monetization system as part of the update, to continue monetizing Clash Royale or whatever, Well,
I mean, Clash Royale price increased by 3 times. So if they don't have a new robust monetization, then I'm not too sure what level 15 would do, because...
So you're saying, hey man, your best monetization is keeping your players, dog. Get rid of 15.
Basically. I just genuinely believe if your players are happy, then they'll spend. And I think if your players are unhappy, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm obviously not a game developer for a mobile game. Maybe it's different. Yeah. But
that makes sense, though. It makes sense.
If your players are unhappy, they likely won't spend. I don't know what the numbers actually are in terms of the new Clash Royale purchases. I just know that people are unhappy with Clash Royale. Many people in my clan are not buying it because they were upset with the price increase.
I didn't buy it.
Whether that will subside,
Yeah.
I didn't buy my main account either. I was like,
Wow.
oh, I'm not gonna pay. My main account has everything, and I'm like, I don't really need any of this stuff for $15 in Canada, 15 Canadian dollars. So I didn't
You're
buy
telling
it.
me you don't want the animated banner,
Yeah,
Shane?
but I think if new levels is what Clash Royale wants to do, which their behavior suggests that that's their direction they want to go, because they've released level 14 when they released champions, and they are saying that they want to release level 15. If new levels is the way they want to go, because obviously the community would prefer no new levels, that would be the ideal solution for the community.
Yeah.
I'm saying is that if they are going the route of new levels, what I want to see them do is, like, number one is postpone this level 15 update until later on in the year or next year, or whatever, but instead focus on building out systems and features in the game that would actually benefit from having new levels. And what I mean by that is Clash Royale does a very poor job right now of scaling with your level. Like, there's nothing that really, there's nothing that changes as you progress in Clash Royale. In fact, they're going backwards. They recently added the ability for basically anyone to get champions at any level. Yeah. As long as you're king level 8, you can access the new season shop and earn a champion there, with 1 champion per month. So now levels have even less meaning, because you can earn champions in the low arenas. Like Arena 1, you can have a champion. And so that's going backwards than from what I feel like they should be going, which is building a suite of features and systems that scale with your level. Like when you play Clash of Clans, I know it's a whole different game, but you kind of look forward to reaching a new town hall, because this new town hall gives you new defense, new hero, new mechanic. The strategy changes, the gameplay changes,
upgrades for current buildings, all that stuff. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, and the game feels fresh. Every time you reach a new town hall, the game feels fresh, because everything changes. You're discovering a whole new aspect of the game. But Clash Royale, it's like it doesn't. It's like you reach this level 11, and from there you just hit this wall where it's the same thing over and over and over
number
again.
On top of it.
Yeah. So what's the point of even having levels at that point? Whereas if they want to go level 15, if they want to introduce new cards, change that. Go in, rework the underlying mechanics of the game, and add in some new features that will start to scale with your level. Maybe your towers get stronger. Maybe I had this idea that I'm going to pitch here soon on a video, basically where I call it the tower talents. You know, like in RPG games, you level up, you get a talent point, you can invest, and you can change your character.
Yeah.
But basically, imagine that for towers. You get to, like, tower level 11 or 12, and you can start. You can unlock this tree of customization options for your tower. And every time you level up, every time you level up your king level 1 level, you get 1 more talent point, and you can customize your tower more.
And you know what you can do, Shane, too? You know what you can do? You can pay like 100 gems to reset your whole tower. No. I think it's a good way to monetize with I'm dead serious. Yeah, it's a good way to monetize through a free feature, but there's still some monetization built in, so they actually can get some money too. Because you got to think of it from both perspectives. But I agree, man. Like, give us something other than a different number over a card, man. Keep going.
Yeah, but exactly, like, that's one idea, like having your towers get different abilities as you progress. Maybe you can customize them more as you progress. Maybe they can add in new game modes that would change depending on what your king level is. I know another idea here is bring back the clan chest and have, this clan boss that's been mentioned before, the PvE mode where the clan gets together and they all fight the same boss, right? Like, you deal damage, the damage persists until the next player comes in. They can do damage, they can do their attack. And then you kill the boss, it levels up the boss, you get a higher level chest, everyone gets more rewards. And maybe they make it so that instead of being a regular battle with a generating elixir bar, maybe you have a limited amount of elixir that you have to spend 30 elixir. That's what you get. Do your attack with 30 elixir. Maybe it's 20, maybe it's 10, I don't know. But then maybe as you level up, maybe you get more elixir. And so that way you can access, stronger strategies, bigger armies when you go into your clan boss attack. But just basically change certain mechanics or systems, or add new systems that actually would benefit from having a new level. Get all those in place first, and then add in a new level. And then all of a sudden, now you're adding in a new gameplay feature, but also boom, 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 X, Y, and Z. They also all change to a new layer. They add a new layer of strategy with that new level as well. And I feel like that should be the focus before adding a new level. Whereas right now, it kind of just feels like they're maybe rushing this level 15 out. I don't know.
No, I think, what, the sad thing is, first of all, I love the idea. Everything that you said, I think it's great, right?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
No, like, the bad news though is that, like, I remember God, this is probably back in like 2017, man. I remember going to back when like Tim was the community manager and Lassie was the team lead. I think the whole team has turned over like a couple times. Not to say that this is not like a shot at the new team versus the old team. I'm just trying to say that way back in the day, I remember talking to the team lead because when we go there, well, especially back in the day pre-COVID, you get a chance to interface face to face with the developers and the game designers, and it's actually really cool. You can ask them, "Have you ever thought about this?" And oftentimes they would just answer. It's not the pressure of an on-air interview. Anyway, I remember him actually talking about, yeah, in the future it'd be really cool to have like a PvE element to the game. And that was like 6 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like,
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think like you said, when you meet with the developers, like they're passionate people and they're smart people that have the best interests of Clash Royale at heart. And oftentimes, like us creators, we have a million different ideas, but obviously we're not developers. We meet up with them. We're like, hey, I got this cool idea, and you pitch it to them, and they're like, okay, but did you consider like all these different aspects of this, like, and what it would affect? And you're like, no, I didn't consider that at all. And that's why they're developers and we're like creators, because they've got the mindset to challenge you to think critically about those things. And I think that with the direction of Clash Royale, it's only a amount of time before we start seeing these like ideas eventually come to the game. Because Champions was one of those things that for 5 years we were like, we want Champions, but we're never going to get it. And then finally we got it 5 years later. So maybe this is one of those things that like PvE mode might come, but it might just be, 8 years, 9 years later.
It will be after Clan
Wars
Wars 7.
Later than what we wanted.
After Clan Wars 7.
Clan Wars 7.
Yeah.
I just feel like Clash Royale is a bit of. I feel like we're stuck on a time loop right now. It's like
right?
a new ladder. We got a new Clan Wars, and we got a new ladder, and then we get a new Clan Wars, and now we got a new ladder again. And it just feels like, all right, let's just start doing something else. Let's enough ladder, enough Clan Wars.
Right.
Let's start adding some different stuff to the game.
I hear you, man. Well, listen. Thank you for coming on. I told you this would be like 10-15 minutes, and here we are over a half an hour. So thank you for being so generous with your time. I know your kids just got home. We will let you go. And again, a reminder to my lovely viewers, go check out InShane's new channel. He's no longer going to clash with, but we still love him. Shane, thanks for making the time, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
All right, guys, let us know how you feel about all these topics and more in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.